The thing that I use this for is just basically for a good exercise to work on the mechanics of the right hand, developing the picking. And what I'm doing here is putting a accent on every set of 6, or every set of 6 tuplets. This next lick is a variation of what we've done before, only what I'm going to do now is carry on a set of 6 all the way down the high E and the B, because it has a certain tonality, it has a certain frequency response when you just play a lick on 2 strings rather than jumping around from different strings. Okay, let's break this one down. All I've done now is just take the same lick that I've done before, only repeating it on the high E and the B string to give a different tonality. Okay, here's just another version of the E major blues scale and the C sharp minor blues scale combined, which is a little easier to finger. It gives you a little bit more fingering ability. The reason this is easier to finger for me is that normally when I do things, I'll take everything down in a 6-note sequence in octaves. So starting with the first set of 6, by taking that down in octaves, it becomes a little bit more difficult as you get to the low E and the A string. So what I've done now is just take the E major blues scale and then only gone down as far as the B string, and then taken what's left on the G string of the C sharp minor. Much easier to finger, and it leaves a nice chromatic passage between the B and the G. Okay, now let me show you the whole thing slowly. Here's another example combining both of the scales. This one's different than the other examples that I've showed you because, for one, I'm ascending rather than descending. And then the other thing is that I'm combining 3-note chromatic passages from each scale to create a total of a 6-note chromatic passage. With this one, I'm starting at the 14th fret on the low E string and using a 3-note chromatic passage from the C sharp minor scale, and then a 3-note chromatic passage from the E major scale, creating a 6-note chromatic passage. And right there, what I'm doing is just getting a part of the C sharp minor blues scale. So after that, I'm repeating in octaves. Up until now, we've done everything basically in the key of E. Right now, I'm going to switch everything to A and use the A major and F sharp, which is, once again, the relative minor to A, and show you some new licks in this key. What I did here was take the A major blues scale, down to the F sharp minor blues scale, and from there go to the similar pattern which we've done in E. And combine them all together to make one long lick. This next one is a lick that, rather than shift in 6-note sequences, is going to shift in a little bit longer it's going to have a different vibe to it. What I'm doing is going to take an ascending version of the F sharp minor blues scale and go up to the D and the G string, and then switch to the A major blues scale and continue up all the way to the high E string from there. Okay, what I've done here is take the F sharp minor blues scale, starting on the 4th. Up until this point, I've played the same thing in octaves, and I'm switching to the A major blues scale, starting on the D string, and starting on the 4th again, and continuing up the same way as I did previously. If you've noticed, everything we've done so far has had an alternate picked feel to it. And I do a lot of private teaching, and a lot of my students are, one of the biggest questions is, how do I pick fast? How do I pick fast? Well, how do you pick clean is a whole nother subject as well. And to pick fast and clean, I recommend alternate picking. That's what I do. I use a standard alternate picking all the time, although there are different techniques. There's a economy or sweep picking, which is fine, but I find alternate picking to be very aggressive and very precise, very aggressive feel. And in the beginning of alternate picking, one thing I noticed, it's a lot of people have a hard time really realizing that they are, or if they are or not, alternate picking. Therefore, what I suggest is exaggerate the movement at first to make sure you're really getting that alternate picking going. If the lick is something like this, say to yourself, down, up, down, up, down, up, as you're actually picking it. And exaggerate the movement with the right hand just to make sure you are doing standard alternate picking. As you can see right there, I'm exaggerating the motion, which is something you'll want to do right in the beginning to assure that you are doing proper alternate picking. However, after you've done that, you'll want to practice the economy of motion, which is basically never taking the pick farther than it has to be from the string. So you don't want to be flapping all over the place. You want to have a real tight motion after a while. Here's a musical example I've composed called Systematic Chromatic Static. This compiles a number of my favorite chromatic style licks on one song. Okay, let's take this now and demonstrate this lick at a time, or rather than that, we'll break it down into a few sections, section at a time. Okay, here's section number 2, up to speed. Okay, let's take that one slow. The third section is a little bit longer. It sounds like this.